Halo Babli, halo bangsat. Halo. Kenapa aja kebenaran? Weh, ya Allah. Cek. Cek. Hah? Mosok? Cek. Mosok anjing? Aman adanya aman. Keras anjing sumpah. Anjing. Udah kan dulu kan udah.
Selamat malam untuk para agents dan selamat datang kembali di VCT 2024 Masters Madrid. Masih bersama dengan kita juga ada Abigail, ada Dave dan juga Rere Bredel yang tentu akan memandu dan menemani kalian di match terakhir hari ini. Pertemuan antara Peprex dan juga Loud yang dimana menurut gue cukup menarik ya ceritanya ya, karena dua-duanya ini kan sama-sama korban Genji nih ceritanya.
Aduh.
Korban dikemplang sama Genji nih. Peprex kemarin kalah sama Genji, Lot juga turun gara-gara Genji. Tapi yang lebih menarik tersamping mereka adalah korbannya Genji, sebenarnya mereka berdua ini sama-sama Slayer ya. Kalau misalkan Loud ini kan China Slayer.
But by the way, least confident, like 10 out of 10 is at least saying that, right? We need to see the Paper X fired up for this match.
I mean, right? And the way, not the Paper X looked, but the way that Genji made them look.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we know that Paper X is all about the flashiness, the quick plays, and Genji had a response for everything, but it is an opponent that they know very well.
I do feel like, though, we learned a little bit more about what Genji's capable of today than what we saw. So now that makes me wonder what happens here with Paper X. Was that a matter of Genji just flattening people, or is this a Paper X team that maybe has a little bit more to show here?
Yes, because I think in previous, yes, as in both are true. Genji look incredible, but Paper X, I think in previous matches, we've seen them really push Genji. That's one where they were making a lot of fundamental mistakes. Players were kind of going off, losing picks. They're taking the normal Paper X risks, but against a team like Genji, with their structure and their firepower, they were ripping that apart.
Yeah, no, it's hard to put into words how just well this Genji team is playing. I mean, we could probably talk about it all day, and that's why on the other side, you know, you're going to need some players to step up here, right? On the Paper X side, you're really looking at Munyet. This guy has truly been impressive, but I'm excited to see him go up against QCK because I do feel like, Kukuka, that QCK throughout this tournament has grown as a player and have definitely risen.
Yeah, let me get my strongly agree card to show with you because it is crazy what we have seen from QCK, especially like the other day when he was sick, when he had to go to the hospital at the beginning of the day to then come in here, play the way that he did, and especially the performance that we saw yesterday. I am very happy with what we saw. I think that we have to be very careful how we talk about that Sentinels versus Loud that we saw yesterday, because at the end it was two very, very close overtimes, and a QCK that overall is feeling super comfortable, that has found his space in Loud. Many people have that question of, gonna be better or worse than us, but doesn't matter, he's his own person.
The similarities between these two, I feel like, are kind of endless, right? They both had to fill massive shoes. Jing, the best race player in the world, and Ospas, the best jet player in the world, on the other side. I mean, this year maybe. But comparing these two, both these guys have come in, and they haven't necessarily perfectly filled those shoes, but they have stepped up and found their own place in this team. Both got criticized a ton in their respective kickoffs, in the early stages of Madrid, but in the playoffs, in the late group stages, where it really matters, both of these guys have stepped up for their squads.
Exactly, like probably the biggest question coming in from Loud into this event is QCK going to be a detriment to them? And I feel happy that all of that people can be quiet for a second.
Oh, for sure. I mean, honestly, if Sadok's telling me that this is what they wanted, I believe Sadok. Speaking of, actually, I'm actually quite excited to send it back over to Mika, because we're going to hear from the Capitan himself, Sadok, as we get ready for this matchup.
He's good.
Hey Sadok, how's it going? How are you feeling?
Feeling super good.
Feeling super good. Love to hear it. So last time you guys went up against PRX, PRX came out on top. So what do you think you learned from that match that you think will be important in this one?
They're gonna be super crazy, so yeah, we're just gonna have to be super aware of what they are going to do at the start of the round and be prepared.
How crazy the crazy?
Super crazy.
All right, excited to see it. Good luck.
Thank you, thank you.
These are definitely two teams that are going to be fighting here with very, well, unique forms, I would say, coming into this one, maybe.
Yeah, I think the last two matches for these squads was very different. For Loud, this was a game that came down to the wire. It was a second away from getting defuses. It was one clutch making the difference for Loud ending up losing that, versus a PaperX that's coming into this one after getting stomped by Gen G.
Yeah, so many of these rounds come to close to nothing when we're talking about, as you mentioned, in those retakes, they do not go their well for literally less than a second. And time after time, it's not the kind of thing that just happens once. But for PaperX, I feel like yesterday, Gen G just showed every single weakness that they had. And talking about vaults and talking about what Laka was saying in the interview, there's so much you can learn about how to exploit those mistakes in PaperX that is very scary to go up against Loud today.
Yeah, I think PaperX are definitely going to have to dial down some of these individual risks they're taking, especially if they're shooting like they were against Gen G.
Big question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, giving away those opening kills, giving away those opportunities is the reason PaperX ended up getting rolled in the way that they did. Loud is another team with fantastic fundamentals that will punish those mistakes.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like PaperX just really wants to try and like be, you know, ridiculous, and they kind of have to not do that this time around.
I love this lower third about talking about the pistol, because I think that is also a very important part of what is happening. Even though they are the two best pistol round teams in the entire event, for Loud, definitely yesterday it was not there on the first two maps. It was very complicated for them to push through all that, but for PaperX, it was the other way around. They got pistols and not much else.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be fascinating to see how both of these teams compare against one another. But for now, though, let's send it down to the stage and bring out our teams for this epic battle.
Bienvenidos a Madrid. Eso no.
Loud.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión. Vine por mi cinturón.
PaperX.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota.
It's the unique and bombastic team from Pacific in PaperX going up against the well-oiled machine in Loud. But the question on everyone's mind here is, does that man right there, Sadak in the middle, have the plan to shut down a team that sometimes doesn't even know what their plan is?
Yeah, Sadak has done this before. He always leads teams to these top-level events, but last time, PaperX eliminated them. We're into the map select, and we are starting with Ascent, which is wild to me. Both these teams play ridiculous comms. Loud was locking the Yoru. We see a Gecko from PaperX there. I think that this is a match of two teams with incredibly unique reads on the game.
I think that the surprise comes even before that. Loud banning Split throughout the entire year. They have been banning the Breeze, now coming into here. They ban on the Lotus. Definitely feels that they want to adapt more onto the opponent, just to, you know, besides showing that they're weak on the map.
But PaperX also hasn't been willing to play that map, and they get rid of it towards the end, which means we get to land on Bind here, which I think is also going to be a really interesting map. Historically, some great calling from Sadak on that one, but that's been honestly my favorite map from PaperX's tournament. I love the way they play that Harbor comp. They haven't won all the maps they've played it yet, but I think they have some great ideas that are really tough to deal with your first time playing into it.
Can we get to 3 though? I think that's the thing that I'm wondering is, can we get to 3, or are we going to see Loud kind of do what Gen G did to PaperX? Yeah.
I feel like for both of these teams, we have the question of if they're going to make it through, are they serious contenders to making it all the way through and take on Sentinels tomorrow, right? We need a convincing win for either of them.
I think that this map number 1 is really going to decide this series.
Totally.
I think Loud is pretty favored when we get to Sunset, but this first map, I could see it going either way. Both these teams have looked really good at times, have looked really shaky at times on Ascent. I think PaperX need to win this map. If they get to 3, I honestly favor them in this series.
Yeah, and of course, I think that fundamentally Loud should have the upper hand coming into this Ascent, knowing that is, you know, the more basic map in those terms. Now, if PaperX, like shenanigans, all the crazy rounds that they put, are able to disrupt that confidence onto Loud, I can see them taking this too.
Yeah, and if they... I mean, look, I feel like no matter how you go here, one thing is for certain is that there's going to be just moments of absurdity on each side. Players are going to be pulling off some wild plays, but where I'm looking at here, I want to see if QCK is going to get rattled by a very aggressive PaperX team, and if PaperX, well, if they manage to find ways to kind of like wiggle around the brain of Sadak.
You got to look at the newcomers. You're talking about QCK. I'm looking at Mud. What can he do in map 1? We're into the agent select, and PaperX is running back this double initiator raise comp, and Loud have returned from the Yoru back to the Phoenix.
Who would have said, you know, that in 2024, no Sova, no Jet, this is a new way that Ascent is going to be played. I personally really like the Gecko and the Fade as a combo. I think that the information and the hurdling that you can do, all the flooding that you can do with the utility and how recurrent it can be, gives you an amazing edge. And I do think that Loud using the Phoenix here is something that can be countered easily.
This is a massive rematch for Loud. If they could beat PaperX here, send them home, have a chance to go for a run in a finals, and maybe get Sadak that second trophy, it would be incredible. But PaperX, they always show up at the right time.
Well, let's go ahead and get this elimination match underway and send it over to your casters, and they live for the drama. It's Bren and Sideshow.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, there's plenty of it here. This is an elimination game. Loud versus PaperX. Without a doubt, one of these teams going to be going home early and potentially hoped for here in Madrid. And it's a weird one in terms of expectations, to be honest, Josh. Writing down, going over storylines, whatever, putting a large focus. But both of these teams feeling like maybe they've got something to prove here, but maybe not so much for PaperX.
I think at the very beginning, this is set up to be an explosive game. The Des pointed out that neither of these teams are playing meta. Both teams love to fight. QCK immediately has just spotted 3 people over towards tiles.
Got lucky that we didn't quite miss the action there getting into the game, because
both of these teams are so fast.
Yeah, slow pause as well, just off the rip, waiting for the reaction of PaperX. And look at this, there is that reaction. Loud wandering and waiting into mid, trying to go for the double setup, just swinging into it now with the fault line to set this one up. They want to try and take the brawl, and it's a delayed fight, honestly. At 1 minute, who can really call it? This is it, the damage now, finally. Bullets peppering through, and blind as a bat does not matter for Kawazine. There needs to be the response, and it's there. PaperX coming out swinging. Heads being found here, straight to the cranium. The shots, that's a little bit messy still. The job getting done. QCK Last one standing, players are weak, walking right into him for the instant trade. So a pissed around for PaperX, a highlight focused on by the desk, talking about how much these pissed arounds matter for both of these teams. They're leading in terms of that metric here in Madrid, but it's PaperX who are the victors.
I guess who comes out on top throughout all of that? Being able to bail his team out of a rough situation from top mid against a tiles crunch, essentially. It's Forsaken, the guy who's been clearly, in my opinion, the best player for PaperX at this tournament. I don't think he was during kickoff. I don't think he always has been. But he is right here, right now.
Gak ada yang attack, udah gitu aja. Kalau ada yang attack pasti pada
online,
bilang apa namanya, pada bilang oh ada itu.
In a match like this where we're expecting so much of this to be brawling.
Pokoknya jangan sampai kayak kena satu terus habis itu, ada info lah terus pada siap gitu.
Mindfreak only has the sheriff, plenty of shots, rattled away, narrowly missing the heads here. Snake might drop down, vulnerable. Zines holds some util out into his hand, doesn't know which direction. Flash through, there it is, the follow-up and double face. Cleaned up though here by Divide. At least. Nice reactions, yeah. Beautiful business. At this point, no real chances for Loud. It looks like to really win this round. A good chance to highlight. Really how important winning that pistol round, and this follow-up as well is for them. I mean, PaperX and Loud with these comps, very ult generation heavy. They want to try and get these ultimates online, their attack sites, they want to go for these big XX with them. They've got util, they want to dump it into these sites alongside the ultimates.
Yeah, and I think they're going to turn Ascent into an attack-sided map as well. It's one of the reasons I think that QCK's gone back to the Phoenix here rather than the Yoru they were dabbling with. They know that PaperX are running this comp without a Sentinel anyway. They're not worried about a Cypher or being able to get into the sites. It is truly a bizarre situation we find ourselves in. Very different from Meta's past when these two teams clashed. They've been here through thick and thin and through all the Metas in Valorant.
Don't get me wrong, PaperX have never been standard even on Ascent. That's very playing their Reina Harbor comp.
They're not standard on any of the three maps we have today.
Who knows which direction it's going to go into. Kawazin taking a peek and a wonder. Will get punished for it. Head taken clean off. Less. 3 peeks. Plays looking away, but a nice double face of PaperX, making sure that they clean up those mistakes. Now the smoke's dropped down. More exploration into mid. Only a stinger, so Forsaken can't quite take a peek. But will they clear this corner? The peek angle, Sadak might just be able to react in time. He's not going to push it. He's just holding for it. 2 years. Anticipating some sort of reaction there. Something now. He's in a forward close position. Lucky to be alive there with the util out into his hands. But finally with the paranoid sent flying. Follow through with Divide.
Nice,
all the appropriate angles and avenues of the plant down 2 versus 2.
PaperX are going to be able to pull a lot of time off the clock here, even if Loud is successful.
In the smoke, flash around the corner, but it's an empty site. Fully evacuated. Wall up. This is cheeky. Divide now has to get a move on, pushing forwards. QCK half on the board, finds the first kill. 1 versus 1. Can he win it? It's a gamble. He's has he got it? Time just about. That's about half he got prior. Holy!
What a clutch from QCK. Now that is going to obliterate the Loud economy, because it was a bonus round for PaperX. But still, to be able to find the 1v2 there, defending the wall against Divide. Look, he comes off it just at the perfect time to be able to grab that one. But like I said, it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. Loud cannot buy into the next. So despite the fact they get on the board, PaperX achieve their goals, essentially. And already, we're seeing an attack-sided operator come online for something.
He loves to pull it out.
He's the strangest Gecko player you will ever watch. Do not study his VODs if you're trying to learn Gecko in your ranked games.
Been watching some old Kang footage.
Yeah.
They really do love to walk into it.
He's also got a vendetta against Dizzy. He tosses him away and doesn't ever pick him back up.
I think it could be spelling his own defeat and doom here. There's a judge. Close to the corner, Sadak. Real specialist with that regard. There you go, thrash forwards, wants to take the fight. 3 shots flying through. Pellets for no kill. Only the damage being done. Munyet now fast onto the approach here. Have to cancel that off for a bit of info. Divide. And they have taken tree control. Looking to slip into the back here. Now QCK has a rifle and he's watching for this. Yeah, just holding for the right time. He's might with that one with the pause being called. I mean, PaperX, this is Bit of nuance being added into their own gameplay here. 2 left standing, double face into heaven. That was the real threat, which was QCK with that rifle. With him dealt with, it looks like a sealed up, done deal, detained. You might see some knife action swinging around. We won't make the London reference again, but listen, you know the deal.
For a knife kill, I mean, it wasn't even a knife kill, but for the knives to be coming out for Paper X in round 4, yeah, this is going to tick all the boxes.
I think it speaks massively, I think, to their mentality coming into this. I mean, Alex did a fantastic interview, really going in deep in terms of the mentality of Paper X as a team. They were saying they'd be happy if they just got 1 win at this event. They're treating it as almost like just a practice boot camp. Yeah. And so the fact that they've made playoffs, they're playing with house money. You might not think that's much, obviously, if you're listening to that as a viewer at home, but I tell you now, there is no team more dangerous than a team with nothing to lose.
And a team that's readjusted their expectations. Oh, this is a great idea from Paper X. They're making it feel like it's a full A main exec, and they've got Monyet so deep into tree already. Faking as if everybody's coming towards A main.
Rapid here with a nightfall as well. Sound cue's cut away. It's going to be breaking the glass, and already in their faces. More. They know that they've got a couple of trails, so that's why the nade's rebounding under, below, sees, connects, but there it is. They're just wrapping around and collecting onto 2 years. Too much to deal with. Rocket in your face. But yet, eager to really prove his worth. High and mighty now, 1 player left standing. You don't need me to say it, you can hear the crowd chanting. QCK.
I don't think he's got any intention of allowing the ace to occur. QCK's miles away from it. What a beautiful setup though for Paper X. I don't think Paper X get enough credit for the way that they set up some of their tactical stuff, because they move so quickly and so fluidly, people just assume it's very intuitive and there isn't too much thought really going on. That round, they're making it feel like a big A exec. All of the utility is coming through A, and Monyet finds the timing down mid. When you're a defender on ascent, if you see utility being piled into A main and you're playing in like tree or grass, you are going to focus on A main. You expect it to be 4 or 5 people coming from that direction. And so the fact that Paper X have 2 going through as an A split, even though they're not throwing utility for this splitting bit, absolutely ruins this defense. The small adjustments that they make are lovely. But I feel like we've seen this team evolve over the course of this tournament.
They have, yeah.
I'm completely sure that Alex is telling the truth when he says that when they came into this, they were only looking for 1 win. And I was watching them in kickoff, and frankly, I wasn't that impressed with what I was seeing from Paper.
No, it was very slapdash, you know, yeah. They were throwing ideas into the mix. It looked like they were really just improvising.
And just to pull another quote from that exact same interview that you referenced in, Brett, Alex, the coach, said, "We have problems that we need to fix. There's too little time, too much to do. We've been carried by our individual performances, in my opinion, rather than good gameplay and good Valorant." But to me, actually, some of that incredible individual performance has bought them enough time to start figuring out what is working for them. And they get into a match like this, and I don't think they are underdogs. I actually think that both teams could win on any of the 3 maps that we have here. And it's so difficult to predict because they play such off-meta styles. You know, when are either of these teams going to be practicing for what the other person is doing?
Just never.
Nobody plays like Loud and nobody plays like Paper X.
So a blistering pace to begin here from Paper X, but throwing enough nuance into their own game plans that it doesn't quite feel like the old textbook, the old documents being read out aloud. They've had that time now to reinvent themselves ever so slightly. Now Loud, with that timeout, we're heading into the half bye. They're going to have time to think about some of the mistakes, the adjustments. Probably not going to be seeing them active here.
And I think one of the things that you're seeing from Loud is that they're very willing to fight forwards. You see the angle that Kawanzin is currently playing at. Think about Sadek with the judge, Kawanzin playing market aggressively. They want to contest Paper X and not just give them space. But finding those timings and being able to match the tempo of a team like Paper X is quite difficult.
Okay.
Especially if they're hitting timing shots like that.
Just off the cue of the flash. 2 players are left stacked now. Cat is being watched. You can see something. He's got his eye on it. Anticipating that there might be that reflank with a minute on the mark here for the round. Definitely time to play with. Definitely time to work around. If they do walk into the bucky, there's some level of danger here. I mean,
Sadak can't really
Di kanan,
escape, though.
main flag,
No, but
kanan,
Mindfreak is
kanan,
way
kanan,
ahead of the
kanan,
pack, so I
kanan.
don't think he's going to get
Kanan.
traded, and he isn't. So Sadak's still stuck here. Might have to use util. Nade drop down as well. This guy is now a nuisance. A thorn in their side. He's buying them time, and the mosh pit has to be committed. Force him out wide into the open. Still alive, by the way.
Monyet, he walked in through A main.
Okay, well, he's found that timing
Yeah,
from
they
the
love
classic.
them.
Okay, a heaven position, 2 years. He's got his, and now it is a little bit messy and scrappy.
But
that's our use.
But Monyet lurked in through A main, and now Davai is lurking in through B main. So because Loud are playing this composition, oh my god, what a shot! Because Loud are playing the comp without the Sentinels that doesn't play spread around the map, that needs to group up and fight and peek for info, Paperex are finding those lurk timings real nicely.
Ting. Kita butuh batamu, Ting.
They didn't get ahead of themselves, did they? Didn't get flustered when Sadak got that initial kill. They managed to get themselves into an advantage position, arguably here, lit up. The beacon pointing directly towards in a double face. There's no hesitation in the play of Paperex there.
No, I don't think that they were anticipating the horn coming out. Forsaken being deep on the B side, they just weren't ready for that horn lineup in the slightest. Bear in mind that this was a light buy round, so it wasn't the most danger in the world. That timeout that you were talking about, Ren, that Loud took, that's for the rifle round coming up here. And we can see that QCK is going for an operator. So you've got the Phoenix op online. Get your bingo cards out. Did you have that one down? Phoenix op versus Gecko op.
There's no chance. Just no chance at all. Fast though. A lot of util now being dumped straight into main. Instant response though. That was a paranoia fragment.
Yeah, actually so much utility being used there by Loud because every other team would cancel after they get full 5-person hit by the KO knife, but not Paperex. They will still try to apply pressure to you, trying to look for that timing. So Loud forced to use more utility than you would normally expect, but just giving so much respect.
Hit the TP. Must have.
Certainly thinking about it, wasn't he?
Yeah, almost expecting it now, and a call's been made here. Sadak, a re-clear into mid. Possibly some util to set this one up with the Prowling. Paperex going to be aware. Nade going wide here, but yet no one to cover! Kawazine! Disgusting work, and QCK would have followed through.
Here are the lurkers. 1-3-1 default for Paperex. It's on Mindfreak or something to try to find timings. The spike dropped. Makes everything way more difficult.
Whoa, what a shot.
Yeah, he does find that opening.
Let's see if this gets work here. Being defended up into mid, crouched, tucked into the corner. That's Sadak. He's essentially alone in this spot. They've doubled up through main. Now he's crouched. He does find that angle and fight. So 1v3 looks just less and less likely. Yeah, it is running and gunning. Okay, saves the day there for Loud. Finally getting that second one on the board.
And Loud choosing to try to fight over mid. I think they're getting the read now after the timeout. And the Paperex are playing pretty heavy from mid. And with the Viper wall that Loud goes for, they have the advantage over fighting that cat kind of area. Yeah. See where the Viper wall goes. Well, assuming that Les throws the same one in this round. And you see that Loud can double up with Tui's Sadak and trying to fight over that area. Oh, you know. Yeah, there it is. There's the wall going down at the beginning of the round. A judge for Sadak, as is
tradition.
Classic.
As is tradition. Loves to pull it out. Big ults now being earned and built up here for Loud as well. Plenty in the war chest. B main control, B main control. Heavy priority here for Loud because they know how close Paperex are to a few of these big ultimates. That's a nice one. QCK punishes that one. Mindfreak usually going to be the lurking player.
I like that Loud swap it up. Previous round they were playing heavy for mid. Now they're playing heavy for the outsides of the map. And Sadak, he's used the ult there. I'm not exactly sure what pressure that was off, but he certainly thought something was happening.
Did indeed Forsaken. Oh my, looked all the way up. Does Kawazine even expect his nose backing away? Silent jumps up though. I don't think Forsaken knows that he's backed away from the angle. He's waiting for time, honestly, making a lot of noise on both sides of the map. There's a Thrash and Monyet just making it feel like it could be present over towards any direction. QCK layers down with a volley, but a TP forwards to just get right past it. Davai slunk his way into the site, but can he follow up with this kill here? There's so much going on all over the place.
Yeah, Forsaken lurking through mid, caught though, and now Monyet becomes the other lurker.
25 seconds left. He loses duel at 2 years. Critical one at that. Even no gaps here into the play. Judge right in his face, and Operator as well, the barrel practically in his mouth.
That is a bizarre round for Paperex, but you can see that they're very clearly trying to work their lurkers into position. It's just that none of them actually found any success. Alex is calling a timeout here and might want to readjust the game plan to have less of the lurk plays going on. But to be honest, look, Forsaken's got a chance of making something happen there. I don't think Cowancy knows that he's around. And if Moniette is able to win the duel against 2Es, these lurkers are finding opportunities, but when they lose their duels, it looks stupid. It looks like they were just destined to fail. But with Paper Rex's style, if they win that fight, suddenly there's a gap in the defense, and Paper Rex are very opportunistic. They do tend to exploit those very well. So certainly a weird round, not a successful one for Paper Rex on the attack side, but indicating a little bit of their game plan that Alex might try to adjust.
Good time to talk about Loud's expectations, I think, heading into this entire series, right?
Yeah.
The team that are eager to try and take that battle again against Sentinels, who have just been knocked down into the lowers.
Yeah.
So winning this matchup would guarantee that rematch. And
for the fourth time this year.
Exactly. You know Loud are eager for it. They've been shut down, put down. The most recent 2 attempts. It was a very close series the last time those two teams played. So listen, they're going to be looking to try and pave that way to redemption. Bit of revenge maybe on the cards too.
And both of these squads had to retool in the offseason after losing a superstar player. You lost Aspas for Loud, you lost Jing for Paper X. Alex was talking about how difficult it's been readjusting to life post-Jing. Loud were nose to the grindstone immediately, started in October, only taking about a month break after Champs, and tried to reinvent themselves, find this new style. And this is what they've settled on.
Hello. Brawl to be taken here. This is an onslaught approaching from every single direction, and nobody can hang on. Paper stand a chance. They're the ones that are supposed to be going for the W Gaming.
And such a classic, great idea from Loud. You come out of your opponent's timeout and run a set play to steal the tempo. And they've wiped the floor with that. An absolutely flawless round. You'll see that so often. It's a great idea. Your opponent takes a timeout. They clearly want to adjust something about their attack style. And you say, right, well, we're just going to force the fight to them. And they go for a bit of a tiles crunch there, punishing on very wide jumping by Moniette. And ruining everybody over towards B.
Yeah, Paper X players left reeling.
Devi going for the glass cannon bundle in this round. So the economy in a weird spot. Is an unusual thing to opt for. Been watching the Howdong thoughts.
Apparently. China gets wild with those. Strange economical purchases. Still, Prowler here setting it up. Disrespect by something. Look at this guy. He's up onto the angle. Doesn't care that he stand up. Hits it with a second shot. Finally, the second bullet. Dashing in with the satchel. He's upset the aim entirely. Kawazine didn't know which way to look, didn't know which way to aim. Opens up the sight now for the plant. His post-plant positions of Paper X pretty sublime. Devi falling. Only chances here.
Potentially only an op to work with.
Dropping wall down in his face, Molly. Oh goodness me. How does that one catch? Everybody's getting this up. It looks like. What is that? Hello. 2 years. Chasing him over extension. No, I don't think there's any chances. Listen, surely time is running out, but handing these kills just over to him.
And considering the Paper X's economy was not amazing to come into this round, these are not fantastic kills to be given in the other direction, but it won't make too much difference because we're so close to the end of the half.
Yeah. Maybe a 200 IQ player didn't see how close they were to the ultimates, but maybe they're like, okay, let's just feed our life away. 2 years has already got it. Let's try and build up ours.
What a way of entering, right? Moniette skipping, jumping into the site, and the spacing perfect for the trade. That, coordination not quite as good there. We'll keep an eye on that.
Dirty.
Oh, you know the camera operators are watching for every one of those
Hunting
situations.
for it, yeah.
Cowanzine set up with the Odin here to spam into B main.
Face your fear!
Early knife fall. This is an attempt of a fake, but the early knife gives it away. Only one tag. That's going to be onto Forsaken, so the goal of that really to try and make a fake play over towards A. Cut away to sound cues. Odin spam spraying through. They are getting absolutely destroyed here. Yes, something managed to win his one, at least through the main angle. Alter now with that showstopper, wants to send it and let it rip. Rolling Thunder cannot save you. Away from that one. It's explosive. High octane action, but an adjustment there. Beautiful by 2 years. Really just expecting that reposition, and it's about catching the tempo and the timings here. Walking right into it, but misses the opportunity. 2 years. Jump spots, gets a bit of additional information.
Good patience though, not trying to force the fight in this situation, because they have a player advantage to go for the retake. This is going to take effort from Forsaken and something to clutch this out.
Feels confident enough to use the Thrash here to try and clear his way forwards. To the boxes. Forsaken going. 1v3. QCK's on the flank. Should be unwinnable. Blind as anything. Hasn't given it away though. Still was holding a shift key this entire time, but if he opens himself too wide, QCK's already there. Justin, did he see anything? Not too sure. Corby and Made jumping down, and there it is. The kill found.
Very competitive half that we've had so far here. Paper X have found some opportunities to burst into the site, but the more that they default, the more Loud are picking them apart, I think. You saw there a cute idea from Paper X, like you said, going for that fake play. But the exec wasn't quite coordinated as well as you would hope for. Certainly not compared to the previous round, where Forsaken was right behind Monyet on the entry. Perhaps lacking that fade in terms of the pressure that they put onto B. Final round of the half, chances to tie this up, but Paper X's economy in the dirt.
Oh yeah.
Compared with double op setups, I saw for a moment there on Loud. They'd probably toss them on the floor, looking to play them in the early game.
Heavy stack of Loud as well. They can play over towards A because Les has got the pit down. Not being contested. He was assisted with an early fault line of Kawazine. QCK, he's not worried about it.
No, he's not. I mean, they don't, you know, you would be a little cautious in this situation for some pop flashes through the smoke or this kind of thing, but he's not worried.
Nice shot, 2 years. Expecting it from the high ground angle. QCK. Ball thrown at them. Still, it's back to a multitude of players now, and he's got to try and at least put up that wall to try and prevent them from getting past it. 2 years repositioned, still with the operator, and it's Paper X who are the ones who aren't coming up with really any of the appropriate answers. Double smokes out to try and get themselves into position. That's being spammed with the rifle at work. Hopes and dreams placed onto the end of the barrels, and everything stolen away from them. So evened up. Loud doing a miraculous job there, honestly, bringing it to 6-6.
Ya, sepertinya
I think this map is probably going to be a
Paper X butuh semangat deh dengan lagu ini.
Hey teman semua, ada kami di sini. Anak-anak EVOS yang selalu menawan hati. Seperti macan putih yang terlihat unyu, tapi jangan diganggu, nanti kau yang malu karena sekali mengaum siapapun gigit jari. Kami pemenang dunia, bukan titipan semata. M1 FFC ISF, itu punya siapa? EVOS di sana, teriakan bersama-sama. EVOS di sini, EVOS di sana, teriakanlah dengan bangga. EVOS teman.
Bagus dong kan? Apa ini?
Apa sih ukuran kebahagiaan?
Kebahagiaan bisa sangat besar.
Someone can hear me scream now. Let it happen, let your together we are. Together we are. Together we are one. Together we are one. Together we are. Together we are. Together we are one.
Daripada ini posisi.
Jing's shoes a little more. They haven't adjusted that style yet. And that's probably one of the things that's had the confidence knocked for Paper X, is that they haven't really figured out what the new team identity is. The deeper they go in this tournament, the more they'll be learning about themselves.
Yeah.
6-6 at the half. Both QCK and Monyet playing well individually so far. But Loud's composition is devastatingly effective when it comes to site executes. So I'd expect PaperX to be doing their classic style of trying to disrupt things before you allow your opponents to ever get into an exec.
Deep delayed knife. Monyet was tagged, but he did not care. Still holds his ground.
Interesting that PaperX have gone for a defensive wall that allows them to, you know, contest mid as well. So they're not worried about Loud's wall.
Giving up that presence. Loud now opting to just contact in through A. And it's an open site, it's a free site. It seems to be a bit of a read. Look at them, they're just fast on the approach. Maybe just hearing those sound cues out towards tree, but they've closed the door in their faces. A bit of stray damage. Sadak is going to be safe though. Safe and sound, able to get that plant down.
They need reinforcements quickly. PaperX are apt to flood defend. Common Scene Less is still really far away.
Pause in the play, a bit of a break in the timing, at least taken. Monyet still with that nade now. Does he choose to use it? Fragment. First wave of it being used out. Here it sends it. Paranoia go flying. Dizzy swarming into the side. Yeah, 3 players into hell. Anything to clear this one. Might have to just jump in. It's a beautiful smoke. Tyus is using it to just divide up this site as well, and it's making it more than difficult. Damn difficult. Have on a defuse. Might make a difference. PaperX, mind free. Going forwards. Right clicks. Away. An absolute bundle differential. Something running. A mockery. Straight through main. Plenty of time available to them. Beautiful. Flawless with the execution of that one.
I don't know how he's managed to pull that one out. 3 players in hell with the smoke set up. The spike is planted for them. Very clear game plan.
Yeah, of course.
Look at that thing. It shoots different.
Sale numbers up. Get the chart out, Leo. Get the chart out.
Why is there a dinosaur? Don't know. Don't care. Go
cool. It looks cool.
Yeah, that's a nasty round from Mind Freak.
Nothing
Nothing more to it, really, is there? Loud had a game plan. It got dismantled by some right clicks from the Classic.
Sometimes it be like that. You get shot, you die.
So again, PaperX being able to win the pistol round, right? They won the first.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Des was talking about, Kakuka was saying, that they didn't really get much else in their prior game.
Taste of their own medicine. Not Sadak is going to be receiving it though, but Kaozin and Tuyas grouped up side by side.
They can pivot this quickly into a B split though.
Something.
Could try and pivot, but not now.
They couldn't get away. They simply couldn't get away from something with this judge.
Chasing them down. And into mid as well. Pistols out now. Wants to take the long range fight. You know the players are tucked into the corner. It's cleared out. Last one stand here. So an important beginning really for PaperX. I mean, again, we talk about these comps. We expect them to be attack-sided. Big execute, generating these ults. Clear game plan for both of these teams. PaperX winning this pistol and a follow-up eco, you know, relatively cleanly. I mean, the economy is flourishing after this. You can come into this bonus looking nice and strong.
And just to talk about how Loud got anti-stratted so heavily during kickoff by EG, part of that was a Cypher, which doesn't exist for PaperX. Part of it was a double Odin buy, which we might see later on in the half, so keep your eyes open for that. And the other part was playing disruptively before Loud could get into execs. I think this is a perfect round to go for that more aggressive, disruptive defense.
That's a lot of util, isn't it?
It's a lot of util, but it's all a fake. It's to make you feel like they're fighting over A. And PaperX already out there, looking to try to catch a reposition elsewhere on the map. Now Loud have just decided to slowly contact re-clear this area, which is a serious gamble, but they have called the bluff of PaperX perfectly. What a read.
Not sure who that is on the team. Give it to Sadak for now. Nade into the corner. Devai almost getting spammed down, losing his life. But here we are. Another post-plant situation. Loud will be getting this plant down with no real pushback.
Don't put 3 in hell again, though.
No, probably not. Playing up close, though. QCK in front of the smoke. Only laid down. Backing away. Now, PaperX did use a lot of that util just in the beginning of that round, so I don't know how much they've got now for this retake attempt. Weaponry's not too ideal either, but Dizzy does the work. 3 revealed and suppressed out there. Forsaken is just in their faces now. Still trying to double up into hell.
Against the judges.
Just pushing them back as well, and it's just random spam and spraying through. PaperX, man! Running them through! And still now they're sticking on! Broken! Destroyed in the process. Man's there, ready to try and pick up the pieces of this fight, but Carry set the aim in time. Something
dropped. Little bit of danger.
Bisa sih harusnya tuh
Pretty decent damage,
mainnya.
considering that that was a bonus round.
Aduh, si Manfred kurang.
But Loud do come out on top. So he just managed to get enough kills from 2E's,
Udah dibunuh.
holding out in A main,
Nice.
supporting the rest of his team. And so here we see one Odin being picked up for PaperX. This is what their setup's going to look like a little more often.
Something okay.
That's over towards B main. Now, Les is usually going to be trying to take B main control, and the Odin's powerful there. But actually, we're seeing a fight on the exact opposite side of the map. He's so aggressive with the op.
No! Just takes it to him. That's because Loud, you know, waiting for these right timings.
Pakai OP maju
They think
anjing.
that they're ready for it. I mean,
Something
they're holding
doang
that with
anjing.
a lot of players. But something just too quick with it, man. Too quick with it. 8 rebounds close to the corner. That's Munya hoping to catch a player that might have just repositioned there.
What I love about something is he's so good with Gecko's mobility utility, the legs.
Yeah, I love the way he presses 3 on the keyboard and pulls out the knife just to run away. He does it better than anybody.
Definitely does not have a paranoia to play off here. He's got to rely on the Thrash.
Yeah, he's using the Thrash to try to set this up here. Good return on the fire there from Sadak. Gets the trade-off at least, attainment into the corner, so it's slowed them down once more, but 50 seconds left into the round. No prior map control here for Loud.
Yeah, they've stacked everything in a fight over towards A main. They're losing it, and now PaperX have 3 players ready to collect.
Deep orb. Placed by Les. Trying to use this to try and get themselves into position and spam the spray. A few stray bullets, TP forwards into the mix of things. But listen, Munya inside the smoke. Loud paving the way forwards here. It's brute force. It seems to be the name of the game, but only one player will stand. Sadak, the IGL, does not stand a chance there. Deflected onto the position.
And this is a very classic round by Loud. They realize that their composition is extremely good at A executes, so they try to dominate A main at the start of these rounds with 4 or 5 players. And even if you know that they're going A, their comp is very, very difficult to stop once they send a big exec into you. But before they can even start to take A main control, something's already run out and got a pick at the very beginning of the round on their duelist player who has an ult to try to entry.
The tempo just at those extremities, man. I mean, it's a clear win con. And, you know, funnily enough, it reminds me of when PaperX played against Gen G in the regional finals. And Gen G absolutely counter-stratted the ever-loving sugar out of them. And they were going for the heavy extremity control because the comps operate in very similar manners. They were disrupting that tempo.
Yeah, and I think Loud's comp does struggle the more you force it to split through mid and try to take map control, these kind of things. It doesn't have, for example, a Fade or a Sova to be able to use drone utility or a recon to clear out close corners. It's much better at being able to get these big retakes, big execs going. Loud are skilled enough, talented enough to adjust the game plan on the fly, but they're always going to be limited by what the comp is good at versus what it's not good at. I think PaperX has got a nice read here. It's also great to see something, hitting shots, feeling aggressive, going for plays. Because I feel like outside of one awesome game against Carmine Corp, he hasn't quite been at the top level that I expect from him.
He's a very confidence-driven player, I think, as well. I mean, if you take a gander at any of the PaperX vlogs as well, you see it. You know, he wears his heart in his sleeve, actually. He has to be picked up on a frequent basis. You know, confidence around him, being a support staff, the players, his teammates. But when he has good games, you know, this guy is just unleashed.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Well, they know where he's positioned at the moment, and that's where you should expect the op to play. Many flashes to try to push him off the line.
So to try and defend the line as well. Bit of Odin spam and spray through. Jump and spawn. You do not survive that, apparently. It's a nice attempt and a nice clearance, but still, as they're trying to swarm the positions, they're getting absolutely pounded with artillery.
1
HP, man. 1 HP. Maybe more than a dream. He's managed to bring this to a 2v2. Doesn't have the spike, though. That was dropped down a little bit earlier.
Look how bold Forsaken is. He just jumped up on the same spot with a classic in hand. 2E's? He's seen it!
Just ulted up there and he just sees him crouched.
That's unreal!
Knee or an elbow, I'm not too sure, but it just pokes out here. But yet, it's on the other side of the map.
And he's thinking, how on earth have my team lost this? What's going on?
Just no shot. I mean, Les, of course, being a difference maker. Now, they don't know where Munya is.
But they have no idea. And PaperX are the kind of team to over-rotate a little on defense, so they assume that he's close.
30 seconds
but now
left.
Monyet's wondering, well, where have they gone? Because if they were just on B, surely they would have got the plant now.
Incredibly winnable. how low these two players are for Munyet.
He could kill them both with one nade.
Exactly. The nade, and not just that, went away from the showstopper, but he really wanted to try and seal the deal. Here it is. He's got a lot to clear here, but maybe gifted yet. Bit of that information. Pulls out the rifle, expecting the re-swing. Both the players smoke. Drop down, classic out. Thinks twice.
Ada pencil lah. Bombot pencil.
Nade rebounds out wide, and now he's just firing. Here's the rocket. Talked about it earlier. Pre-fires in the corner, but he guesses incorrectly, and now he's left wondering which way is 2 years. How did he reposition? Time ticking, shortly getting away from him. He thinks he's behind the boxes. A miscon perhaps away from it. 2 years wins it out, and the Mastercard Thrifty.
What a wild way to end that round. I'm really unsure how it even got to that point, frankly. But you could just see the mind games between both of those players. The less information there was available, the more it favored Les and Tui's. Just a walk in through B main. And this one. Who ults into that
Dia
spot?
pasti mikir, dia pasti mikirnya kayak apa namanya, darah musuhnya tinggal dikit, pasti dia main deket kan, nggak mungkin dia main jauh. Pasti mikirnya gitu anjing.
He's normally a little more animated than that.
Practicing stoicism.
Musuhnya nggak ada info. Nggak ada info, dia tuh kill random saat gitu kan.
Either inspired by Marcus Aurelius or
kan, jadi dia nggak dapet info.
Very similar, actually, very similar. So Loud now in a great position, right? Having won that round, it just turns the whole of Ascent, at least this half, on its head. Their economy is now flourishing, right? They're going to be in a position where they've got a good economic bank to work with. And they're also coming into this round with a huge rifle advantage, starting to get up to big ults. This is where Loud's attack side comp looks so scary, even though they're 1 round behind in reality.
That's when they start to come alive. This spot here, that's how pivotal that last round was for PaperX to end up winning it out. The weak combine Forsaken. How much is he really going to be able to do here with a runner back facing him? QCK going to be making sure to clear all the available corners. Has a bit of utility to set him up. Knife out, onto the cranium, does drop that one. Here we go, second go of things. Forsaken doing quite well in that position there, but only going even here, 4 versus 4, but he has more time for the fast rotate.
And everybody on Loud playing on-site postmines. Even if Loud are able to get this, PaperX can make it extremely expensive just by holding B main and the defense spawn.
Being cleared out now. Smoke propped up. Pre-firing up to the sky. Now defaulting over towards the fault line. Using that utility to try and delay. But you are right, this could get pricey very, very quickly. Dizzy. Broken. In there with the protocols, and now this Loud who realise they have to really just barrel their way through this one. They are being penned in here with the guns, should be favoured. Almost nice of the movement there from the Vibe, but shut down there. 2 players surviving from Loud, 9-9, even scoreline.
And Loud keep enough players alive that they do still have that cushion to work with. Tui's can drop Sadak, and they've got a good buy going with some spare cash to float around. It's Loud's ults that now become an issue for PaperX. The more you let them get set up to go for example, the Rolling Thunder, the more difficult it's going to be. I'm looking at the minimap, and PaperX look poised to go for some serious A-main aggression.
That puts the pressure on Mindfreak, doesn't it?
Yeah, because as soon as Sadak calls that, they're going to be running into the pit, I would imagine.
Down, knife spam into the corner. Mindfreak already dropped down to 50. Never mind, he's dead. He's finished. Dealt with.
And now, to be honest, Loud have no reason to immediately go into a B-site hit. Right? They know that PaperX are very fast on defensive rotations. They cleared out Gelato early. Loud can just pump the brakes here and allow PaperX to spread out a little bit around the map, or even force them into making a play that they can punish.
No command. Smoke off the timing for it. Just off B main here. Molly sent flying into the smokes available here. Ready with the spam. Damage being done. Sadak barely alive, but does return the fire. Forsaken still.
What a
tucked
spot.
into the side. Yeah, but not going to be clear potentially. But faced by too many targets in opposition. This time storming into the site. It's going to be gained for them with that territory. Loud now. Reload. The Odin. 2 players left alive here. Munyet, though, has got us back to all the available players. Flash is really quite excellent, peeking through it. So now Loud taking that lead, 10-9. We talked about it, that danger zone for them, but this is how the comp operates, how it works.
And you can see the Paper X are trying to disrupt it. If that had been Loud taking a main control at the start of the round instead of B main control, then they would have had an enormous clash in Shalom. And who knows who would have come out on top. But Paper X kind of gambled incorrectly. They were going for the hard read. Loud do tend to favor the A site with the way that they call their attack sides. And just happened to be the wrong one. They were hoping that Mindfreak could hold stuff down on the B side of the map. Just inside his head. I think both of these teams struggled a little bit to be able to impose their will on the defense side. But what we saw from Loud on defense was that they actually found those rounds to be able to catch Paper X doing something. And we're not really seeing that when the sides are flipped. Paper X are going for a lot of early round aggression instead of mid-round aggression, and I think that timing difference has ended up being quite important for them. It's easier to read when it's just straight off the rip.
Yeah, it is.
I main Sova on Lotus.
I mean, honestly, there's worse things to play. There are worse things to play.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it firsthand.
Like League of Legends.
Okay. He said it, not me. I can hear cackling from the desk, man.
All right.
Elimination game.
Paper X are in a tough position here, though. They really are. It's about to spiral out of control. Forsaken's not really found opportunities to have his will imposed upon the game. And he snuck up to try to take fights. Grabs one, and he gets out.
Forsaken scot-free, man.
He's the player that's been the difference maker this tournament, and he wants more.
So punished for that. Two players waiting for him to just make that kind of mistake with the paranoia flash over the top. There was a bit of a team blind, but side control for them. Now fighting towards Market. Something dropped dead. Difficult spot the Paper X are being put into here. So the fact that Loud are just getting into these sides, obviously, gets a half by Paper X, but they're not having to use ultimates doing it. They can save them now for when Paper X have a bit of a buy round and money's back into an orderly and sensible fashion.
Paper X here. Again, the silver lining would be to apply enough pressure that the ults do get invested. It just doesn't seem likely, though.
No, it doesn't, does it?
And Paper X's game plan has broadly been... Hello, you see? No, there's no danger here. Paper X's game plan has broadly been to try to stack one of the sites and just kind of hope that Loud are going there.
One enemy remaining.
And the problem with that is, if you gamble incorrectly, Loud have just got into a post-plan situation.
Yeah.
And not just that, Paper X are not playing the other side for full retake. They're playing it to still anchor with like one player. For example, when Mindfreak was inside his pit. Or here where Forsaken is trying to challenge B main alone for a cheeky kill. They're on the eco. But if you're gonna stack one side of the map super heavy, you're kind of forced to play full retake on the other. And just rely on your double initiator comp. At least something's enjoying himself out there. This is the round where Paper X absolutely must get back in control if they have any chance of winning this end.
Need it. And group positions here. I mean, the molly for that one, but just to slap it down. To the orb. Paranoia, blind, nade, rebounds, and we'll clear out a few of these players too. He is timely there with a TP.
But Loud are going for a lot of re-clears, right? We haven't seen them go for big rotates around the map. Paper X are realizing that. Hits coming through.
Will be a large dodge a bit as always smoke into his face. At least they deal with that, run it back. Divide. Does he seek to try and disrespect this timing? Out and through. Yes, the Paper X players still holding their ground and basically rooted in place. And Les is now going to offload the pit to try and get them through. This is a call.
This is an amazing ult if you're planning to rotate and maybe split or go over to B. It's not that great for going into site, but it keeps a lot of players on site.
Using a Nightfall. 2 tags. Even out, Prowler sent straight through tree, wondering if that split's coming through, but now with 40 seconds, Loud are happy to wait this one out, but which direction are they going to take it towards? A seems like...
They've smoked for a B split though, so Forsaken's worried.
Watch him peel himself away. Top of mid, eyes onto it, Munyet. Paranoia settling in, Divide inside the smoke, wants to rule that position and take names away from them.
What?
Up. He's right behind
Aduh,
them. What
gila-gila,
is that kind of
Nice.
play? Still, heads are falling and so are the bodies, toppling down. Time working against them now, over the top and running around. Oh my
Nice.
god.
That is the most important round, though, that Paper X could have secured in that moment. They got the read that it was over towards A. They're starting to figure out how Sadak's calling the attack side. Do you remember earlier on in this game, Paper X were throwing huge utility into A main and then rotating away, expecting Loud to pivot. Do not want to hit a heavy site. And because Sadak's been going for re-clears and re-hits so often, Paper X had stacked so heavily on that area. Now, that has got to be Alex's reaction to 2E's making the play, because he had that one moment of despair and didn't follow up on it. 2E's is actually ready to counter-op something at B main. Something for whatever reason has got those tingles on the back of his neck. He knows it's not a great idea, but he's starting to creep a little closer.
He's been spotted, tucked to the corner. Now it is home and he can reposition here, but sets him up onto the line nevertheless, but now he's going to back away and respect it. Important to note, you know, we talked about it that previous round, but Loud did end up using 2 or 3 ultimates, something. Wall up in his face, contact plays, and he's out of there. Backing away, covering fire from Forsaken. Making sure the evacuation goes off without a hitch. Walking straight into the line of sight. It's something who's sniping them away. Precision across the board for Paper X. Wiping out the opposition.
Awesome round. This has really turned the tables. It's only Currency left alive. They know where he is. Trapped in a corner. He's going to have to duel 4 players to be able to get out of here.
Util in the stun.
He's just stuck.
No chance. So
11-11.
The adjustments coming in handy.
Yeah, looking lovely. Paper X don't try to contest super early. They've got like a slightly delayed off-peak into B main, which is a nice timing to go for that. And they just catch this timing. Something is always a couple of seconds ahead of the play. If he was a second slower peak in market, he might have died to QCK. If he was a second slower peak in B main, probably dies to 2Es. It's all about those tiny, fine margins. No hesitation.
Scratching their heads a little bit here, wondering how they can get that advantage. Now Les takes a load of damage off the rip, 61 health drop down.
Yeah, it's actually one of the first times we've seen Les try to solo take this area. He's immediately dropped.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a counterplay, I think, as well. Les usually throwing the orb from that angle.
Something makes it feel like it's the same setup in this round, which broadly speaking it is, by taking that op shot into market. And now it's actually caused Loud to pivot away. They do not want any of that smoke.
Crack of an angle. Devi turns away just at the right time. Flash in his face, backs away now, holding the paranoia. Now there is no contact for this kind of play, so he's going to be backing away to the site and gives up control of Tree.
With all of this noise, something's getting on a more aggressive line, so if they try to go back into a B-split, it's going to be difficult.
Clears! Can't quite land the bullets, no way. This is overzealous, potentially. Perhaps, maybe over-aggressive, but they're not expecting it still. They've sucked up that space, right back away from Sadak. Sole survivor of a position into Tree, lays down the lead, but there's no follow-up. Flash now to repeat. It's a nice one, at least to try and cook a butterfly. But Paper X.
It's so reminiscent of their game against Karmine Corp. The late resurgence in the final rounds. It's looking excellent. Loud dragged 2 of the maps against Sentinels into overtime. Are they able to do the same here? The economy is not good. Their game plans through mid have been countered. But they were winning when they dominated one side of the map and went for the exec.
Let's just try to play it himself with the ult and they're disrespecting him.
The same players working out again for Paper X. It's like they just run back the highlights of the previous rounds.
It's just insanity.
Forsaken spamming, as far as I can tell, the exact same line, and this time, Les goes down. Feasting.
Little to no chance for Loud now. This map 1. It's going to be sealed up nice and pretty with a bow on top of it. For Paper X, all the right adjustments at all the right time, but fuel to the fire just running out for Loud as well with this composition. They are struggling ever since they haven't been able to get those ults online, but Wingman sends them out flying. Quite connect. Kawazine seeking to try and pivot, but he can't break the door in time. Has to reload too on top of this. And already something is there Following the sound cues, jiggle it out, big tiny op shot at least, but right into the judge, that Forsaken. Trapped in the corner, but it matters not. It's a 1v5, it would have to be the player 2 years his career to stand even a chance in hell. The Paper X, the leisurely walk is what it feels like. Happy and secure in the knowledge that they are just setting sail into the sunset. Happy as anything. Map 1 entirely wrapped up.
A beautiful late resurgence from Paper X there. Figuring out how to deal with Loud's attack side at the perfect moment. And Loud, I think, straying away from what was working for them in previous rounds. Going instead for more of a play through mid, trying to get value out of the Viper Wall and connecting so often with the Judge or primarily the Odin and the Op.
Absolute insanity, and guess what? We've got plenty more action left to come. Sunset on the cards. That is going to be a fantastic one. 2 teams that are potentially evenly matched. It doesn't stop anywhere near here.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new
bentar doang.
iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none? None.
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro and iPad and Apple Watch SE all on us. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hey guys, Mika here, and I'm with Alex of Paper Rex. That was a really, really close map. I want to know what was the most difficult part about the prep for this match, especially since it's such a high pressure match and you're up against a team that you really only get to play against in events like these.
Yeah, I think Loud is one of the most intelligent and most consistent teams on the circuit, right? So they're we don't even know what they're going to pick on the map veto. They can play almost all 7 maps, probably can. We just have to focus on ourselves this game. I think we haven't had the best run, so we really just want to get this, get ourselves like quite more aligned, if anything.
Okay, keeping it humble, but.
Kalau sebat terus Indomie doang juga di BG, goblok. Lu masih SMA apa lo, sebat sekolah yang bener, anjing. Itu lo jangan sini belum kena pecel anjing. Pecel di depan gua ada yang jualan sore nih. Lo sama seminggu tuh enggak 5 hari makan itu terus nih. Nggak ada yang lain anjing. Lo kalau mau cari ke warung warteg Sumedang gitu nih. Jauh anjing warteg Sumedang. Gak jauh sih, kayak bisa jalan buat 3 menit 4 menit lah.
Dominating on the defense. It was clear that with time, this team is really starting to figure themselves out.
Yeah, exactly. And on the side of Loud, even though they have a lot of experience with this composition, we still see some mistakes, like dry picking when you have a composition that has Phoenix, KO, and Breach. Cowan seen from the defense not finding a moment to even use his ultimate until like the penultimate round and holding them and actually not.
Dia masih belum nyoba, jangan.
I mean, a lot of people watching this team
jangan nyoba rokok. Sebenarnya jangan nyoba rokok. Gua nge-vape. Udah kecanduan. Kalau lu belum kecanduan jangan. Kalau lu kayak nyoba jangan dah. Yang pertama masih kesehatan pasti. Yang kedua pasti dompet lu anjing. Lu ngerokok sekali ngerokok 30.000. Dompet lu tipis anjing. Belum kalau rokok lu kalau punya teman bangsat dimintain anjing. Gua biasanya dimintain rokok ini tadi cuma 1 batang. Kalau nggak ada vape, kalau nggak vape gua habis. Itu aja. Itu jadi rokok, itu jadi vape. Keuangan lu pasti dapat sendiri. Mending jangan. Mending ya lu buat makan, buat upgrade. Upgrade visi ke apa kalau lihat gitu. Soalnya ini makan chef tunis. Tunis goreng laut. Hadiah ulang tahun tuh mungkin kemenangan paper aja. Kemenangan hadiah lu. Ya hadiah kemenangan itu adalah paper. Sumber efeknya sampai gila nih. Wah anjing KDA-nya 2 anjing. KDA-nya 2 anjing gila. Dia nggak ngerti. Ya lu buat nge-game tawal, lu buat nge-game, lu buat donat streamer. Itu nggak masalah lu buat nge-donat sih, tapi kayak nge-donat 5.000, 2.000 kayak ya udah lah, kayak nggak gede-gede juga deh. Tapi kalau lu donatnya kayak 10.000 kayak si Alasan donat 200.000 itu miskin anjing. Ya sebagian aku lihat nanti mikir-mikir kali. Tangkap yuk.
They've beaten the likes of Heretics and EDG. They beat Gen G in the Pacific Kickoff. This is doable.
Yeah, I really like the way, especially these two teams' comps are going to compare. Loud is playing the Phoenix Breach again. It's a similar win condition, playing for really heavy extremity control on their defense. Getting QCK posted on those lines and forwarding him orbs. PaperX did a good job of
gua
shutting that down in map
Instagram
number 1. But I think it's a lot
ulang tahun
with Loud will be on defense on
upload jam 12 yang lihat 100 anjing. Ini orang-orang pada nggak tidur anjing keluar gua nih. Kita lihat tidak ada duelis. Let's go. Walaupun tidak ada duelis tetap W gaming. Kan gue cuma makan kayak sebiji doang. Terus habis itu laparnya malah nambah anjing.
Exactly right, it's Loud who are now on the chopping block in this elimination game, our first one of the playoffs. And PaperX coming out with some surprising forms, surprising improvements, you know, against all regular expectations, I will say. And now we set our sights onto Sunset, the second map here of this series. Should be relatively even. Both of these teams, they like to play this map. They're quite good at it in their own way and form.
Udah kosong memang deh peluang tadi udah bisa tahu. Kita mau sahur anjing, jangan ini lah tolol. Salah.
Smoke deep down, not expecting that Tyler's aggression there. It just comes down to a game of chance.
Gua lagi lihat chat terus habis itu 3 orang anjing. Tadi kan anjing kontrol saat bangsat. Tiba-tiba gua lagi lihat kiri tapi kok frame gua langsung 3 roll.
Two kills under death plus the ult. We'll see how that opens up. I mean, yeah, they're just using that deep smoke to hide from the potential deep dart that gets used. Loud, just above the side of market.
Yeah. It's a specific counter-strap pistol, and Loud just happened to utterly destroy it.
Right here. And
now, PaperX stacking towards the A site.
Standing ahead. Smoking mid in the exact same fashion, hoping that somebody sees it. Just a call. Like there could be that presence into mid.
Les completely alone here. He's going to get overwhelmed. And now PaperX are going to understand that this was fake pressure early on over towards A. So Zalek's going to accelerate. They've got to get into the B site. You've always got to be worried with PaperX. Is there still one player hanging around this area? It's going to slow them down slightly.
That's why they're clearing it. Due diligence. Showcase drone through as well, making sure they're into the back of the site. Players though, deep flash. As long with that, I mean, a Dizzy, a Wingman, everybody collided and collected into that deep corner here, but it just don't have the weaponry to really nail them. The paranoia was fantastic, and maybe more so. One player to stand, it's 2 years on 1 HP. Smoking onto the spike, it's turned just like that. Wall up, Devi blocking it, has to be broken here, but a reload for 2 years now, and he's so loaded, it just feels like he can't get the spam bullets on, spraying through, just needs one to really hit and connect. It's not happening! It's a massacre, Thrifty.
Devi even cleaning up 2Es at the end. He can't recover the rifle, but what a round for PaperX. And that is immediately in round 2 showing you some of the power that PaperX have on defense. And it comes down to the fact that their comp is so good for flood defending into B. That flood defending back B is one of the most successful ways you can possibly play this map. And when you have flash Dizzy combos to get in the backside, and then Sage Walls to block stuff off, and smokes additionally too, I'm going to find it difficult in post-plant situations.
Nice, 4 spotted here. Wonderful indicator. What danger is there in this round? Maybe if 2 years ago would have just kept the back ahead of Devi. Doesn't. He's in mid though.
Tui's is fast to get into position to make the play. But two players doubled up, Divine and something looking to re-clear.
Yeah, good level of awareness.
And Forsaken also with pretty decent awareness on the other side, even though that one-way missed.
Yeah, into this corner, he's really stuck here. There's no repositioning, they've overwhelmed them. Doesn't matter about the superior weaponry. Needs to be that refight, the re-peek as well, a little bit. Wrangling the beast that is their rifles. Aftershock can't be walking too far into this one. Dodging of the flash. Dizzy up into the air. Basanek, he's taking a fight straight to them, and now frustration really showing. Dodging at the timing. No, the dart just revealed towards the back, and it's back-to-back Thrifties, man.
MasterCard are getting their money's worth today. I mean, we're coming off the back of the Sen Gen G game where we just had Thrifties over and over and over too. I'm confused though. In what way was Forsaken stuck in the corner? Monyet's above him. He can walk backwards whilst keeping his crosshair focused towards A-Link. They could have set up a double face.
Yeah, they could have.
He's just kind of shoved himself in a corner looking to try to take the fight. I assumed he was just going to continue backing up. Very odd. Opened up the door though for Loud. Opportunism. Finding them the second round there and getting things back on track. There's that same smoke to try to deny.
Oh my goodness, you're joking. You're joking.
And he gets Kawanzin down.
Again, that's a spike dropped. And they've gained control and ground and another kill. You cannot be doing this to me now. I'm telling you, the MasterCard representatives will be very happy, but it's not exactly the most picture-perfect Valorant that we've ever seen here. Wingman alerting the presence, at least to know now that a few Loud players are here. Spike still dropped down, but it's coordinated off, and they've obtained those rifles, and they're using them to great success. Now, having to really just brute force their way through. They've gathered the spike up, but listen, they're just spamming it through. One left to stand, Sadak. You can't overcome it. It's a back-to-back Thrifties.
This is ridiculous. This is so similar to Split with Sen Gen G. The aggression coming out, very similar to the pistol round. And Loud, think of things from their perspective just for a moment here. They're in an elimination game. The pressure is on them. They're playing against a difficult opponent. They've only matched up against once, and they lost that time. Expectations are mounting for them to try to make a podium finish. You get the pistol win, you throw it away, you win it back, and it disappears out of your hands again.
Relation to disappointment, back again here for Loud.
Roller coaster of emotions. Now Kawanzin's trying to get Tiles to use this fault line that goes sideways and covers both sides, and they use it to pick off something. So once again, Bren, the team with worse utilities winning it out.
Okay.
I say worse utility, I scrambled my words. I meant worse weaponry. The utility was fantastic. But that's Kawanzin trying to get that deep Tiles position, and this time no one from Paper Rex punishes him for it. It's just a game of playing over various different areas of map control and a little bit of gambling of where Paper Rex want to fight.
QCK will lead the charge here, making sure all the areas are cleared. Into the side, Kawanzin dart into a deep position and attempting the timing by Mindfreak is immediately punished. 2 left to stand, 2 left to fight. Paper Rex. They got in them. Yeah, really wide face there, and he's going to get beamed down straight through the wall. Devi does have the money to make a go of this, but does he really still opt into it?
The thing is, their economy's still in a good spot because we've just been sent through the Tombola machine. You never know what's coming out the other side, and we're all getting shaken up and down.
Backside position though, quickly, Devi is going to be swarmed from this position. Molly at the feet, dropping down, and a nailed shot, man. I mean, so much precision.
I'm not saying it again.
Not saying it again.
I'm
okay.
not doing it.
I mean, I'll do it. I'll activate the sponsors. So make them happy. MasterCard Thrifty.
Look, Loud are now in a position though where they're starting to get huge ultimates online. Their composition has ults that you need like 7, 8 points to be able to get online. You're not supposed to really have access to these big ultimates as soon as the economy starts going for your opponent. But Paper Rex are one away from being broken here. Not that that means anything in this map. And now Loud are pretty close to some big ults. Now I'm looking at Kawanzin's positioning. And he sends an early fault line up towards A and is trying to take space off the back of this recon. But look, he is quite exposed in mid here. And he's trying to take this Tiles position. The second fault line perhaps for a later re-clear over towards A. If indeed you had somebody like Forsaken looking to fight there or something with his operator.
Take flight.
Quite slow and steady though, cautious.
But they have multiple tools for these map control plays, and this time deciding to invest the drone. No tag, so no ult from Sadak.
Delayed wall.
Yeah. And if you break it, you give away that there was serious pressure behind that.
Pinging up onto the top of it. I mean, Divide loves to play on top of this here. Great flash. Taken, rattles off a few bullets, lets them know his presence. Now he's going to be sent into the opposite direction there with 2 tags. They seek to try and make a go of this one here. Pop Flash plays the Hunter's Fury at his back to set it up, and they were an anti-flash position. Okay, so Loud have the protocols to deal with that. Themselves now into this site. Will they choose to use any more ultimates? A bit of random spray once more by Devi. It's that Phantom at play, at work. It's a bit of chip damage, but nothing really more to show for it. And here it is.
Players blinded.
There, big one with the Dizzy on top of it. Rolling Thunder now has to be committed. Thrash, slow to a crawl. Les is a monster in this spot. This particular position and any attempt here, they just want to barrel over the smoke position. Something, no chance here on the retake, not with the operator now, so he has to just run tail between his legs.
PaperX's composition is fantastic on those A retakes. You saw the amount of utility that was flying towards Loud, and they still managed to come out the other side unscathed. Mostly, I think, due to the fact that Kawanzin had managed to save his ultimate. They were thinking about investing it. You could see Kawanzin positioned in a spot where he was thinking of ulting sight towards A, but they took the gamble, saved it for the post plant, and came out to the good. Now Kawanzin... Kawanzin dying a spike there. Don't ask me.
They've got money to spare.
Yeah. But that's a great punish onto Forsaken. Unless choosing to try to take the aggressive option, not caught by any of that retake utility. It was perfect. Les and Kawanzin stepping up for Loud.
Yeah, and now timeout being taken here for PaperX. The trouble is, how do you get a grip in terms of what is replicatable? Because the rounds that you're winning have been you know, seemingly down to just hitting a few stray shots, going for the mid-aggression.
Well, you can clearly see that they have an anti-strat prep with regards to Monyak's smoke to try to deny info for Sadak's recon, right? So maybe you try to lean into that a little more and put pressure onto Tiles. That was clearly their game plan coming in, and just because you lost the pistol round doesn't mean that you're always going to lose a fight happening there. But I think the other part of it too is that they just allowed, because of the craziness of how this map began, allowed to start getting some big ults online. And to be honest, in my opinion, that was the biggest problem there. If PaperX had been able to run that same retake scenario, but without the breach ult, I really think they're favored.
Looked like it.
And it is so important in moments like this to not overcorrect. If you have the right ideas, and they're just not working, you might still want to stick to them. Like I was talking about earlier, PaperX do have a lot of variance in the way that they play. When you have two teams like this that are so down to just opt into fighting against each other, it is going to vary. Form is going to play an enormous factor.
I feel like just a coin flip at times here. Goodbye for PaperX. We'll see if it makes a difference. Frick is sole recipient of the rifle. He's going to be holding down a B angle just by himself here. He's going to be giving up. Acknowledgement there with the Dizzy going down, so they know that there's players lurking around, slow default play, which, you know, isn't anything out of the ordinary for Loud.
No, and you can see that Loud is starting these rounds really passively. They're making sure to not go for any deep plays over towards mid. Barely going into B main until just now. Spot the shoulder of Mind Freak, and he hops away. Did they even really get confirmation there that he has a rifle? I'm not sure.
Mind Freak position. Always trying to tuck himself up onto the box here. Are they even going to be aware of it through Slow Orb at their feet? Kawanzin. Few random bullets, he might think it's cleared. It's not. Patience! Played to perfection here by Mind Freak. Might be looking for a few more still. He's dropped down to two of them. Divide has gun of his own now, ready for the spray through, ready for the spray down, revealed. Tucks to the corner, sidearm out and wide, but less will put him down and put him to rest here, dodging to the flash, but he's got a lot to overcome now. Positioning flipped around, weaponry handed over. Discipline honed and ready, showcased by PaperX. Now listen, the spike is on Les's side, but he's going to have no opportunity to really get a free plant off here. Molly down. Running through it, Monyet, and there it is. Round one, they know it. Tucked to the corner, something. Recognizing the win conditions. Guess what? Another Massacre Thrifty.
Yeah, and also an ace. Just to cap off how absolutely crazy this game has been. We have another Thrifty round, powered by Mindfree being able to get a Q play in this corner and Kawanzi not really able to clear it. Devi following up with the rifle. And Les does what he can, but it's not enough. Taking the risk, playing for that variance, and it pays off for Mindfree. Now Loud, change up the pace.
Oh my goodness, it's Paper X taking a fight straight to them. Yeah, Loud opted into that pace increase. They wanted to try and fight it. It ends up them being punished. One-way smoke as well. This is just sharpness on display.
That's wild. That caught me completely off guard. I mean, Loud have been playing such slow defaults to start these rounds off. Focused on A main control, but not that fast. Forsaken almost caught a timing. Surely will.
With the gun, yeah, sticking wide and out. Tap, tap, tap with the 80. Yes, 2 years. Survives the duel and encounter. Has the spike in his hands, but he'd have to do a lot more than that to make this winnable, especially when he's on 8 HP.
And I'm not exactly sure what the read was there for Salak in this round, but Paper X have been fighting with 2 or 3 players every single time over towards A main. I think you've got to start trying to take space in the early round somewhere else on the map. You can go back and late re-clear with the fault line or the drone, but I think trying to just run in and take that fight straight up is going to be so difficult. There are so many tools, though, that Paper X have at their disposal with this no duelist composition. If you ignore A main completely, sometimes Divide might just wall it off, and then they can just ignore it. I mean, what are the chances that both teams just decide to fight A main that fast? The flash connections were so perfect. Paper X fight through all of the smoke utility to get the kills.
Yeah, not just the flash connections, I mean the shots on target too.
Yeah. And that was something that I was a little concerned about going into this game, actually. Loud are going to take a tactical timeout, but I felt like from what we had seen over the course of the rest of this tournament, Loud had more players stepping up with their individual form. You know, Les is just consistent. He's always a monstrous player. But I feel like QCK's had some big moments. Tui's has been playing better than expected to, and Kawanzi's been like putting in some solid work at times. When I was looking at the other side of things for Paper X, it was only really Forsaken that was blowing me away. Something had some big moments, but wasn't always there. Today, he's been on fire. If you want to look at one individual that turned the tide of Ascent, it would be something with the operator in his hand. And you've also been getting better and better performances from Monyet as he spends more time with pressure on him on the stage.
That's what Alex has been alluding to as well in these interviews, but just that stage experience being so valuable for a team like Paper X when they've been making these adjustments. Trying to find that identity, I think. But listen, if it's form that carried them to this point right now, the ideas and time are kind of flourishing, honestly. They've got good reads, they've got good adaptations, they've got good counter strats prepped and planned. They're making it so damn hard right now for Loud to try and deal with.
Again, Paper X start 3 players ready to fight over A. And Loud go for the exact same default setup again. You know, Sova, Viper over towards A, Kawanzi in tiles. Ready for any kind of mid-aggression, sure, but not actually taking aggressive map control in B main or market, anything like that.
Up for mid, face wide, doubled up in the high-low, but no casualties or kills yet. Devi, he's making a go of it, he's making a mess of it. I think Kawanzi puts him to rest.
Yeah, the Mosh got a kill, and Sadak's just sticking the orb right in the middle of all of these guys' faces.
Oh, in. Oh, no.
Wait! He's
what? What's going on?
That's wild! Just hoping that he would find another player involved. Kawanzi sprays down 2, but something gets the response. And it's all left to Tui's, who, of course, is not in A main where the fight is happening.
No, he wouldn't be. He'd be on the other side of the map, of course.
He certainly is, without the Omen ult to be able to make the play happen. Thrash hunting him out. Smells blood in the water, but can't quite get a sniff this time.
Misdirection might be working to the favor 30 seconds left. 2 years now. Time pressure will work against him. Spike has dropped down into no man's land.
If something gives him a free kill, though, this is winnable.
That's how the clutch really begins, but he was aiming in the wrong location. 4 kills in the round for something.
And this round, Loud did actually try to... It wasn't early round market control, but QCK started walking into mid after they realized Paper X weren't fighting it. and then was looking to prod towards that area of the map.
Yeah.
But there was no smoke up towards top mid, not enough players in mid to dominate those sight lines. And so there's a kerfuffle that happens over there that Paper Rex come out, I guess, to the good. And Sadak's trying to make it fake like it's happening over towards A, and the Paper Rex players just peek. The more mess that's involved here, the more I think you start playing towards Paper X's strengths.
Yo, Bandung gempar nggak ya?
Fast play again.
Surabaya
Deep Molly, deep dark, flash into the corner, Munyet's here with the judge. No clearance, no clearance. It's starting to get sloppy. It's starting to get sloppy indeed. And guess what? Exactly where a team like Paper X thrives. Pound for pound, this team, they were born and bred in the chaos. And they're showcasing exactly why you can never underestimate this squad still. Yeah. Walks straight into it, 2 years, again, brought into essentially an unwinnable scenario.
Another round, another Loud player surrounded. In a 1vx, completely surrounded.
Nice.
And Paper X are coming out here. They're really not adjusting their defensive setup too much. It's that Loud cannot come up with the answers. We've now seen 4 rounds in a row, roughly following the same kind of trend, where Loud want to take control of A and push Paper X back, and they can't figure out how. The judge, the paranoia, the swings from both sides, just getting pulled into the maw of Paper X.
I saw smiles on the faces of the Paper X players. Of course it would be.
Yeah,
Never, Alex. It's scary when he smiles, actually. You don't expect it.
This is the first time Paper X decide not to fight over towards A, so we might see a very different round here. Loud are actually being given this space. Paper X anticipating that they would change it up. Surely they don't go A main again after we've just been beating them.
Loud not to be deterred, though. One away from the ultimates. Sonic builds up his. Drone that wasn't used to clear elbow, so they can start to use that now towards the site. Munyet, his position is vulnerable here. It's a pop flash play to set him up with a bit of supportive utility. He wants to disengage now with a smoke dropped down. No command, feeling the heat, feeling the pressure.
That's a weird one, actually, because it looks like they're playing for retake, but they've popped the null command. And Loud think that they're anchoring the site, so they haven't committed. This is a strange standoff.
In the sand has been drawn. TP into mid here, 2 years. I believe just sticking that one, so he's given himself a deep position to mid. Probably won't matter too much. Munyet might be eager though for a challenge here. How's your reaction time? Sun flashes on flashes. Paranoia to meet their match. Deep dart as well. That's not going to be accounted for. Hunter's Fury though tucks into it, gets the connection, gets the collision course straight into these players. And Munyet does a decent job of just avoiding it. Dodging, ducking, weaving, but not enough there. And a repeat with the Outlaw. Something has something to say. A reload online. Shot dust. Oh, jumping around the punish. And they're out wide and open. Ready for the taking.
Even when Loud are given control of elbow, Paper X still find a way to come out on top. This is 5 rounds in a row now. After a very back and forth beginning, when no team could really get a handle on the economy, everything that Loud tries, bearing in mind that this was a lower eco buy as well, but it's all just been getting crushed.
Let's go.
Surely Loud are going to change things up, and this time their attacking setup, does look slightly different. Paper X have already anticipated it though. Tiles flash for mid.
One is here already, forwards in the approach, and he is set up with that util. Run it back, dealt with, and dropped immediately. These ults just top before our very eyes here. The deep hit into B main.
It is a great read though from Les. He realizes that if they're fighting over mid, they can't be doing their normal A setup, so he takes this timing into elbow. There is a chance that a bullet could find the back of something's head here.
Yeah, he's not watching for it, so he will be falling. Flat-lined to the side, and a sight gains now for Les. Going to be calling for the rotate and the pivot. Smokes.
He could drop a pit.
Falling down, he certainly could, and really turn this into more than a winnable spot with 2 years. In that late lurk player, dropping like flies. 2v3 here, Loud have massive advantage here with the pit with the rolling thunder. Really just letting it loose and letting it rip here. Sky high, that's the Vi. It's going to be flying forwards and won't be able to withstand any sort of pressure there, leaving it just to Mind Freak now.
Freak's been good at catching 2Es in all of these previous rounds, but finally 2Es gets his value on the lurk. Loud with 5.
Beli sekarang gadget dan elektronik impianmu.
Anak-anak EVOS yang selalu menawan hati. Kami macan putih yang terlihat unyu, tapi jangan diganggu, nanti kau yang malu karena sekali mengaum siapapun gigit jari. Kami pemenang dunia, bukan titipan semata. M1FFCISF, itu punya siapa? EVOS, EVOS di sini, EVOS, EVOS di sana. Teriakan bersama-sama. EVOS, 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 EVOS di sini, EVOS, EVOS di sana. Teriakanlah dengan bangga. EVOS, EVOS, EVOS. Teman semua, coba lihatlah kami bermain di sana bagai selebriti. Kami macan putih yang terlihat unyu, tapi jangan diganggu, nanti kau yang malu karena sekali mengaum siapapun gigit jari. Kami pemenang dunia, bukan titipan semata. M1FFCISF, itu punya siapa? EVOS, EVOS di sini, EVOS, EVOS di sana. Teriakan bersama-sama. EVOS, EVOS, EVOS.
Improve very fast, and hopefully in lower bracket we will show you guys on our improvement.
Dia kan habis ganti pemain 3 kan, yang
handling that pressure like water off the duck's back, coming into this entire tournament just with the lowest of expectations, and now they're just improving at a meteoric pace, looking to really just take it to a team like Loud. They have the lead here at the half of a decider map.
Yeah, I think that one of the big problems for Paper Rex is that their previous playstyle involved them being in the flow state, of all just having the same understanding of what was going on. And the more that you try to force that kind of thing and worry about the fact that you're outside of it, the worse it gets. But just getting absorbed into this tournament seems to have brought back some of that synergy. Some of the single-mindedness that we see from them, the hive mind of Paper Rex, made them deadly. And the pistol rounds have been, well, I hesitate to say important because they did flip-flop a lot at the beginning of this map. But it could be decisive. Everybody in Paper Rex grouped up to try to punish 2Es.
Disrespecting for that one here. 2Es backs away with the TP. Off-angle approach now with the paranoia. Sent flying onto the left-hand side. 2Es. So not accounted for. QCK just trying to back him up as well as bail him out. And they are just collecting all sorts of kills, but the damage done through the wall. Not enough to collect the kill onto Divide.
Too far forward and not playing great angles. Pushing themselves into spots where they couldn't quite get it. Overextending to deal with Divide. Sadak shocks himself on the corner, but does pick up the kill.
Getting flustered, perhaps. Okay, eventually with a reset of the aim. Less. 1v3. Seen magic.
He's done damage, but he can't get through this wall. It's so powerful on the pistol. On both sides. For the retake, right there to block off angles in the post. It's such a nice addition to the KO Gecko comp that a lot of teams have been looking at.
Look at this 2 clear, really 4 less. The man in his face, follow through with the bullets. Kill collected, but he does have too much to do. Already the time's getting away from him. Look at Paper X. Stanced up, holding their ground, swinging off the contact, and that's pistol round 1 out for them. It's been so damn important. Like you said, you know, we've been talking about the details of the importance of it despite the initial start of this first half, but really it sets them up beautifully.
Look, the slow up there, Divide is used as bait, and they really do bait Loud into taking bad fights in that situation. All of this was set up as well by an underhand KO Flash combo with the Dizzy. I know that people have been looking at the something POV and talking about how he doesn't, you know, recycle the Gecko utility as much, that kind of thing. But they are really good at being able to combo those together to apply a lot of pressure to their opponents. And frankly, Paper X move fast enough that sometimes you wouldn't even use a second round of Gecko util. Les takes an opportunity to try to go aggressive, gambling on the fact that Paper X would not have everybody stacked in.
The zone presents itself for a team like Loud as well, because yeah, you've lost a pistol round, but Paper X on our attack side again. Very old generation heavy, something now one away from the thrash to be used into the bonus round into the next. Certainly Loud can't do too much more damage here on their retake.
On the flash peek into backside as well. Kelsey picking up 2. Still got
belakang.
Pepper here holding the util. Good adjustment by Mind Freak.
Close.
A
decent
opportunity. Kemana anjing?
Zone presents itself for a team like Loud as well, because yeah, you've lost the pistol round, but Paperx on our attack side again. Very assuming Loud.
Difficult to deal with. And I think the addition of the Sage Wall just makes so many of these post plants a little easier to play. This is a map where we've seen a lot of teams develop really solid retake setups, where the amount of utility coming in just ends up being overwhelming. But if you force the retakers down a certain path dictated by the Sage Wall, things get a little easier for Paperx.
Just throw a wrench into the plans of a lot of teams. I mean, Sage is so unorthodox on this map. Early Thrash. Used to set up here, out towards A.
A fake. In terms of where the pressure's actually coming from.
Yeah, I mean, he did have the spike on him, but the rest of his team now working into mid. Pop flash, wall up. Hearing all this noise, hearing all these sounds, but he can't survive it past the box. A call is made though. Loud want to commit into this fight. I'm going to commit heavily out wide. Miscommunication perhaps. Something drops down as well, forced into the spectator's seat with the spike drop down. It's a favored situation for Loud now.
They have spike. Very difficult to retrieve. If Monnier gets another smoke online, which he does, he just sneaks in, sneaks out, and now all of Loud are in a pretty rough spot. They don't have any map control or information. Could be worried about some lurking happening here. So just like that, suddenly there's a lot of doubt in the heads of this Brazilian team.
A daylight robbery from Monnier.
You'd expect the spam to be coming through as soon as the smoke gets deployed.
It wasn't there though, and now, because Loud was so heavily stacked up around that spike position, as you were saying, they've lost all map control.
Yeah.
They're having to triple up and reclear everything together just in case.
And they're slow to do it as well. What you see from Paperx is that after throwing that A utility, they were immediately up mid. And I was praising Sadak in the games that I've been recently watching Sunset. He's very aware of those mid lurk timings, but Paperx are faster than Loud are anticipating. And didn't we see that all the time on Ascent? With individuals finding timings ahead of when they were going to be expected. And look at the map here, how far away the nearest Loud player is. Paperx have got tons of time to try to reposition into a spot where they can upend the player disadvantage.
Rolls away. Paperx seeking to try and fight them deep into these angles. Now Loud already through with those protocols. Monnier left alone to his devices. Only the Spectre in his hands. It would have to be a miracle. It would have to be mistakes to be made. Less though. Put on his heels as well to really collect up that kill and get that trade online. So that was a bonus round for Paperx. The two players surviving for Loud, they might even consider that a bit of a success.
Yeah, I think I would. Paperx's economy is in a really nice spot. And not just that, they did find a timing through mid. So anytime one of these timing-based macro plays works, it's going to add another layer of confusion in Sadak's calling.
Yeah.
Because with a composition like this, you have to be mobile to plug the gaps. And if you're slower than your opponents, you're going to leave those gaps open. Something, of course, he is picking up the attack side operator here on Gecko. His opping was sublime on Ascent, one of the big reasons that Loud are now one map away from elimination.
Massive round for Loud. Have to really lock this one up. Pretty heavy with the economical investment across the board from Loud. I mean, two players with a bit of money to spare, all picked up as well. So Forsaken just do his darnest to try and build up towards that big ultimate.
And a very slow beginning to the round from Paperx. Loud choosing to try to fight a main, recommitting to the angle after this utility was thrown.
Pushing them up. Here's a pivot though, straight into market. They've got anything to try and push 2 years off. Here are the sound cues. Tidy placement there with a snake bite. Less time on top of it. Here we go. Drone into mid. Monnier. Second tag. Fakes like he could be TPing away, but he still maintains his position and his composure. In through mid now. Deep knife going to be landing into market. Wall through. Broken immediately. Couple of shots sprayed out. Can't quite break it though. Monnier could really be that insurance player now. Coming out from the back. Here's the rotation. QCK collects him. Quick on it with the trigger. Now we see it. Players lit up like a beacon. Something only the one instant trade. Something Forsaken just trying to play in tandem with each other, but they are overwhelming them. Mind Freak towards the back. Less is dodging and weaving, gliding across the floor. Finds it now, leaving it to Devi. Time ticking away. What is the call here? Tapping Moving again, this time less sticking, not making the same mistake as the prior game 2 years. Locking down the angle and approach.
Loud coming out with a big win there after allowing PaperX to get in onto site. Really crucial that they picked up that mid lurk. QCK's at the bottom of the scoreboard, but most of that is because he found it so difficult on the attack side to get in through A main. He just got beaten up over and over again in that same position. It's not really that he's even been able to take some fair duels. And I'm surprised at how much the PaperX economy was hurting there. They came into that round with a Stinger and a Spectre, even though I thought they were taking the previous one as a bonus. Clearly they didn't. PaperX messing with their own economy a little bit has put them in a really tough spot.
They're going to be happy with it. Potentially can hear it, the footsteps pulling towards him. For a tussle and a tumble. Less backing away, will be postured away from that angle.
It's very rare that you see less scrambled, but he did seem a little less than his calm usual self there. Forced to backpedal at some pace.
Clear game plan here for PaperX, making sure that they can absorb up all the orbs around the map. PaperX now defaulting back over towards B main.
He's getting posted on A with the orb. This is something that Loud have brought out fairly recently, but Tui's has been doing quite a lot of opping at this event so far. And it allows them just to post him up on A, and they're not too worried. They can keep stacks towards the rest of the site. Having said that, Loud are mostly playing B for retake here. Not going to have any way of being able to challenge this.
So the market, Dizzy. What's that connection there onto QCK? So it looks like the wall is intact. Wasn't able to spam it down in time. Forsaken. Tux. Side by side, wants to play together now. Him. Something here. Running back forwards, facing with it. The flash is not connecting here. Less from the back, feeling really the heat and the pressure. But Kawazin seeks to relieve it. And now back into the action and the fight. Rolling front, committed. You're not getting away with that one yet. TP to evacuate and escape the ire. Still after shock. Plenty of util left. Where that come from? Mindfreak. 2 on the table now. 2 left to go. Dropping down. Knows they're not on it. Peeking through. Another tap. Will force Mindfreak out into the open. Kawazin really seeking to deny this one. Not half. Running down. Mindfreak performs magic before our bloody eyes.
PUBG yang kita kenal, coy.
What a ridiculous round for PaperX to get. That was them on basically an eco round as well. Gonna be labeled as a Red Bull clutch, but could just as easily be called the Thrifty. Their economy was not good. It all came down to Mindfreak, and Lau could not find a safe position to go for the half.
Hesitation just to stick it and trust that they can potentially just hold down the angle. The Kawazin in that spot. I mean, super reminiscent, honestly, of the other day.
It's very
hard to play in Sen. John QT's playing the clutch. They can't decide who's sticking. A bit of miscommunication, maybe getting frantic.
It's very tough in those situations where you don't have smoke utility because you don't isolate angles that the clutch player there, Mindfreak, could be peeking from. So really, you got to just tap and push. But instead, they were, you know, Sadak just trying to get half, wondering if he can, trying to tap the bait out the peaks, hoping that they can rely on their individual skill to win it out. And Mindfreak simply better in that moment. What a way for things to turn around, because other than that, the game plan is actually not really working here for PaperX. So weirdly enough, it's Loud to take the tactical timeout, but I think Alex will be happy to have a little chat with his team here. Because what's happening is PaperX are getting into post-plant situations quite a lot, and then they're forced to go for some post-plant aggression, and there's a bit of anti-synergy with the Sage Wall and the positioning. You saw them swing with just stingers into market there without too much util at hand. They're finding it difficult to pick those timings to disrupt the Loud retake. And if they just sit there, they can do that against other teams, but not against the comp that Loud are running. They're going to get obliterated. See if they change things up or coordinate that post-plant aggression just a tad bit better.
Strange buy though for Loud.
It is, yeah. It is a
Invested into
force.
it. Yeah.
But Les would rather have a Sheriff than anything else.
This guy, I mean, he is incredibly consistent with it.
He is.
It's insane.
Got some of the best calm, raw aim based on his crosshair placement that I've ever seen.
Slow beginning though for PaperX, nice and cautious. Off the rip. Trying to see if Loud will overplay their hands. Initially, lots of ults really to work with for PaperX on top of that, so being given that B main control essentially for free. Looking like there is that hesitation though in terms of how they want to play it.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've spotted 2Es, and that seems to be a hard read, that if they see 2Es over towards A, it's not the Breach Phoenix setup. Because they were ready to go for the B exec there, and now they've just come all the way back over towards A. And that's got to be a call from Mindfreak, I think, because he's the only one getting info on this side of the map earlier. They're going to hit a fairly weak site. 30 seconds on the clock.
Orb rebounding, 2 years chance to play spoiler, but no, he's out of there, so. I'm sticking around to find out with this one. Hunter's Fury to try and deny this one. Plant will be disrupted. Flash up into the air. It's actually a nasty one as well. Connected onto a multitude of players. Now the Plant and the Pit all lay it down onto the site. This does make it difficult. Toxic Screen going to be covering the entirety of the field.
No way of really using these Flash players to retake in this spot.
Absolutely. Paranoid one yet going to be using this one nice and early, still holding for the shotgun. Molly at your feet, Mindfreak going to be pushed out to the open, and he is the critical player. Has to dodge and duck and weave away from these bullets. Led just flying straight past him as they're trying to attempt to clear through. Look at the AWP placement on high. 2 years. He's got so much more to do from this position. He just doesn't have enough info to really work with. Disastrous here for Loud with the fact that it was that weaker investment. In fact, the total investment. Correction from me, Loud didn't put everything into that one.
It was weaker because it was a force. They were coming into it with at least one Sheriff and I think a Stinger to work with, but they forced into this to try to stop PaperX from getting to 11 on the board. Loud are now only 2 lost rounds away from being eliminated in 4th place.
When was the last time that happened?
I mean, top 4 of the Masters, listen, that is not bad by any means. They made it to playoffs, but when there's only 8 teams here, sure, 8 of the top teams. Look at this, another boost play coming out from Paper.
Oh! It's disgusting.
They were innovating with that over towards A, and they do it again. Very reminiscent of when they first brought out the Sage Comp on Pearl. Bait out the fights here from QCK and 2Es. This tower is crumbling down. Taking a fool of Leicester boot.
It's pure whimsy. Smiles on the faces as they're having it. I mean, they have brought this to series point, match point. Loud on the verge of being eliminated.
And I don't think many people had PaperX winning in 2-0 fashion. Loud now need 5 in a row to be able to pull this out. And for them to go for this boost play, they know that the Dizzy has been broken in many rounds, so they know that somebody is top mid, waiting to break that piece of Gecko utility. They boost up, get the punish, and all of that in a round where Loud were just going for the eco anyway, trying to play for overtime. Forced to by the Force in round 19. Or round 18, I should say.
And this is now going to take some heroics. Attack there with a knife. What's the call now for PaperX?
He's so fast!
Manya doesn't care, man! Disrespectful in nature! Back though of the head, flipped up by Kawazin as he does seek out that trade, and he will be granted it. Now the thrash though. This one up forwards here, still slowed, seeking to reposition. Kawazin lays down the law and potentially gives them a fighting chance.
Can he be the hero just when his team needs it? One more onto Forsaken, important, and he takes it.
Good control.
4K in the round.
Something drops him though, no ace to be really looking for. Something pulling this out to seemingly nowhere. 1v1 and Loud. Desperation. QCK knows the position, throws the molly. Flash round dodge. Juked, avoided. QCK saves the day.
It takes such heroics from Loud to just put the first of 5 necessary rounds on the board. Kawazin was slowed up, top A link. Had to take out 2 players where the trade, it looked like the spacing was good. And he'd already shut down that play from Monyet. Deletes 2 players as they come around the corner there. Mindfreak and Divide both falling. And it still came down to a 1v1. Oh.
You have to see that repeated a few more times. Loud, ideally with a couple more players intact, because taking some nasty hits to the eco. It'll have to be done if they want to stay alive in a series, stay alive in the tournament.
Something, looking to try to take an early timing here. Dueling against Les. I don't see how he's going to find the opportunity facing against this Viper wall. Les normally plays a little more passive, actually.
We have seen, you know, when Loud's back is up against the wall, Les tends to take matters into his own hands. Mindfreak taken out. He's got the res online for this one, but Divide with him falling, no longer available.
reaction from PaperX. Look, they're trying to hoover up this B control. Given that Les was peeking over towards Market, straight it's empty.
Dizzy committed by something. He's looking to see if he can get himself onto the deep line. You don't expect that. Drops it. 3 versus 3 now. The knife attack. Info gathered. At least they know that Les is going to be there, but he's already playing now. High-low setup. The rest of his team out wide here. Something going for the peak. Going for the peak. Catches it in the perfect timing. A bullet to the chest with the IGL down and deleted. 2 left standing. Les. Again, heroics are necessary. And it has to be coming out swinging, traded. 1 to stand, 2 years to do the most. A fake with the TP, a paranoia evaded and dodged and juked, but a crossfire setup, it's too strong, it's too damn strong, and PaperX seal it away. Seal it and sent to the airport.
Something closing out Sunset, doing everything for them today. What a time, what a game to come alive. The best player for PaperX in map 1 and map 2, sending home one of the VCT giants. What a clash. What a way to have this rivalry continue, with PaperX being able to get the advantage over a team that loves brawling, loves playing against opponents that are swinging into them. Loud, but able to find the control here today to shut them down.
With that, we will say goodbye to Louds. Not the run they wanted, but an admirable effort nevertheless. Top 4 really gets heated when you have 8 teams at this tournament because the competition starts from the get-go.
Yeah. They put themselves in a difficult position. Honestly, this new style that they've come up with, it does kind of cause them to have to plug gaps constantly without that sentinel. They have to be mobile, they have to be aggressive, and they're playing against a team that wrote the book on playing an aggressive, mobile, constantly doing stuff kind of style.
Certainly did.
And PaperX still had that diligence to their play today. Still had a really nice, close, steady attack side.
Absolutely insane stuff that we've witnessed as PaperX squad lives yet another day. Let's send it down to the analyst desk to break it all down.
Unbelievable stuff from PaperX. So many people doubted them coming into this series. A lot of people were just flat out giving it to Loud. But today is the day belongs to W Gaming.
This team is inexplicable. Anytime you think they will not perform, this team steps up. They've improved so much from the first match they showed here in Madrid to from losing that final to Gen G to now showing up here and honestly, I think playing an exceptional game against Loud. They knew how to deal with this comp. The individuals are stepping up. Somehow something looks like a top 5 player of the event and he's hopping on Gecko every map.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But you know what though, I gotta say I'm liking the ideas that I'm seeing there, even though sometimes they look a little bit rough. I like the way that something's just proactive, wants to get out there. He'll send Wingman to go and handle business and give him a little bit of more information. He's using the kid in a way that is working for him.
Yeah, we really didn't know what this team's style was going to be without Jing, but they have continued to find themselves. Manyet has improved throughout this event, and they've hit that flow state again, it seems.
Yeah, and that is very scary for anyone else that they will go up against. The question is, obviously, can they maintain this momentum? But here's the fascinating thing about this game, is that, quite honestly, Mimi, and I say this with full respect, it was like a boring game to a certain extent. PaperX were kind of just doing their thing. They were drilled. They had moments where they just looked very well put together. They weren't trying to go for anything too wonky, but when they did, it looked like they had a plan. It looked like they had a very solid approach. It was honestly a joy to see this team evolve throughout this competition here in Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, Forsaken as well. He's the guy you have to highlight, playing seemingly every agent, doing so incredibly well. The guy has improved to an unbelievable degree along with his team. I think we've really seen this evolution, this next step of PaperX, and I just don't know how they keep getting away with it.
To live another day. Let's give it up for PaperX! I am here with the Vi. First of all, congratulations on the win. Now, I have a very first important question. Your team wears the banner W Gaming. Can you explain to me, how does an Opping Gecko fit so well into a W Gaming team?
I mean, technically on Sunset we don't really have duelists, but I mean, men just love to op, you know, like it doesn't matter what agent you put on him, like he's just like, oh, I'm gonna op, I'm gonna op, I'm gonna op.
on Ascent.
Tahu ya besok
I don't know. I guess maybe he thinks that he's still playing duelist, you know. But I mean, as long as he's working out, he should be fine, you know.
Ok, le he preguntado que cómo puede ser posible que en un equipo que le gusta ir tan a la cara funcione también un Gecko con el Operator, y la verdad que dice que Something funciona muy bien cuando no tienen duelista, y cuando también lo tienen, pues mira, él se siente cómodo, tiene esa madera de duelista, así que ¿por qué no aprovecharla? So, yesterday we didn't get a chance to talk to you after your loss, right? I want you to tell me how the conversation was when you were back at the hotel thinking about today. Like, what were the learning points from yesterday to today?
I think we learned that most of the teams, when they play us, they kind of like really study us, you know. So we just like, oh, we have to either go even W gaming or try to counter them, you know. Like, I mean, for this, we match up against Loud and we played them before. And I think our strat is probably just counter less, you know. I mean, he's been giving us a lot of troubles last time. So yeah, as long as Les doesn't play well, I think we are good to go.
So interesting. Le he preguntado porque obviamente después de ayer no escuchamos cómo se sentían después de la derrota. Dice que para la preparación de hoy lo más importante era concerear a Les, que no tuviera la libertad que a veces tiene, y sabían que podían llevarse esta victoria. I love that you say this also because tomorrow you're going up against Sentinels. Now you just taken down Loud, you know, and there's only one remaining team from Americas. How do you think that is going to be different? Because you say you do have the experience with Loud, but you do not have it. Well, off-season tournaments, yes.
Yeah, I mean, technically we played Sentinel before and they kind of like beat us to it. And I think this time is a good time for us to prove ourselves again. And I think it's going to be hard, definitely. They've been playing very well. But I think this time we have to prove that Fiera's bundle is better than Sentinel's bundle, you know?
Le he preguntado que cómo va a ser diferente su partido mañana contra Sentinels, porque ya han derrotado a uno de los seeds de América y tienen que ir contra el siguiente. Desde luego que jugaron también en la off-season. Me dice que están muy preparados y quieren esa venganza de una victoria que ya se llevó Sentinels, y quieren demostrar que su bundle es mejor que el de Sentinels. Thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow. Let's hear it one more time for Paper Rex. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kukuka, for that Verizon post-match interview with Divine. Absolute wildness down there as the fans were all getting into it. So we're just glad that we're back here again to cover what was honestly an awesome game to talk about the end of the day. And we lost a little bit of hair on the desk, you know? So we were follically challenged here. You got to hold it down.
That is, of course, the biggest difference between me and Kukuka. It's simply, you put a wig on me and I look exactly like Kukuka.
You can pull it off. He's also fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, very true. Josh, say Spanish right now.
See,
nailed it. All right. Well, first, before though, we do have to say goodbye to Loud, a team that we all know and love. It was a tough matchup for them. But Sideshow, I mean, we were talking about it before. You obviously it just felt as if this game, it was like Paper X just managed to get Loud out of their groove and into a real bad funk, and it felt like they were never able to get into this.
Yeah, I think the Pacific teams have been massively underestimated. Actually, they exposed one of the problems with Loud's current setup, which is that when you play without a Sentinel and you have to be really active around the map to make sure that you plug those gaps with timings, there are no teams that play timings better than the Pacific region. Yeah. They're more opportunistic than most of the others. They have a higher APM than most of the other regions.
Somewhere Achilleos is wailing at the screen.
Yeah, he was texting me during the game. This is the greatest day of his life, I think. When his future child is born, not better than Gen G and Paper X winning in the same day.
Yeah.